Good afternoon. You've heard me say since day one of this catastrophic event that we would divulge information as it became available to us, and I felt that the information was something that the public needed to know. Understand, for the last 8 days, this agency, the men and women of our Detective Bureau, they've been dotting every I and crossing every T. They've been working tirelessly. Our main goal at this point, absent of helping these families heal and keeping our schools safe, is making sure this killer receives the justice he deserves. Since 2008, the Broward Sheriff's Office was involved in 23 type calls involving the killer in some way, shape, or form, or his brother. Some of the calls we responded directly out and met with his mother. Perhaps he was on scene. Some of these were made via phone call. In 2 of these cases, and you have a color-coded spreadsheet, after being briefed by Internal Affairs, I've restricted 2 of our deputies while we delve further into this, take statements, and make a decision whether or not they could have done more or should have done more. It's a fluid investigation. They are on restrictive duty. In the case of Scott Peterson, our school resource deputy, I want to clarify any rumors, conjecture, or stories that have been out there. Scott Peterson was absolutely on campus through this entire event. He was armed. He was in uniform. After seeing video, witness statements, and Scott Peterson's very own statement, I decided this morning to suspend Scott Peterson without pay pending an internal investigation. As is his right, Scott Peterson chose to resign because he has the necessary time with the agency and meets the requirements of retirement. He resigned and /retired. The investigation will continue. We're not going to disclose the video at this time, and we may never disclose the video, depending on the prosecution and the criminal case. But what I saw was a deputy arrive at the west side of Building 12, take up a position, and he never went in. Any questions?
Sheriff, some are saying that he hid inside the classroom, so that's not accurate.
That's not accurate.
He was outside the building the entire time.
Yes.
There's a discussion about Coral Springs went in first. Can you address that?
I don't know I know people got there, deputies got there. There was a time I know Coral Springs deputies were in there acting heroically. I believe by the time the first Coral Springs police officer went in there, the killer was off premises. I know we had deputies clearly inside pulling bodies out. I don't know at this time. It's, as I said, a fluid investigation. So we'll see what happens.
So there's information that maybe BSO told Coral Springs, don't go in until SWAT gets here. Can you address that?
I've never heard that.
What was Scott Peterson, was he there when the shooter was still inside the building?
Yes, he was.
And so what should he have done?
Went in, addressed the killer, killed the killer.
Sheriff, can you tell us, in this log of interactions or phone calls that you received about Nicholas Cruz, it states that the Stoneman Douglas School Resource Officer was made aware of a threat that Cruz would shoot up the school. Did he act on that? What should he have done?
I'm flanked by 2 of the best leaders this county could have, Colonel Jack Dale of Investigations and Colonel Jim Poland of the Department of Law Enforcement. I'm going to bring Colonel Dale up now.
Now, you're asking about a prior incident from the spreadsheet.
Exactly right. This is from February 5th of 2016. Is this Officer or Deputy Peterson that's referenced here? This is information received from a neighbor's son that Nicholas Cruz plans to shoot up the school on Instagram. And later it says the information was forwarded to the Stoneman Douglas School Resource Officer.
It was forwarded, but we do not have a record of the information that was forwarded at this time.
Should he have done more in this case? What's the protocol when a school resource officer gets that type of information?
That I can't say at this time.
What are these other two deputies that have been placed on restricted administrative assignment? What was their role in the response to the shooting, and why have they been placed on this administrative assignment? What is that?
The information we provided are all stemmed from prior incidents before the shooting and what led up to that, dating back 2008 and all the responses that we had either to the residents or in somehow related to Cruz or his brother. So I know it's been discussed in the media of us responding 23 times during prior instances. And in the ones here, they predate, all of them predate the shooting. So in two cases, we found instances where there was information provided. It's unclear as to whether a policy violation occurred or not. So we feel at this point that they deserve extra scrutiny and to be reviewed and investigated to see if there was any policy violation on the part of the deputies involved.
So these two restricted administrative assignments are due to
Prior
calls from the call sheet?
prior calls
And
for
possibly not protocol being followed, possibly.
Possible. Thanks, Sheriff.
yes.
Sheriff,
Kerry, I wanted to get back to your question before. Who arrived first? Coral Springs? Fort Lauderdale was there. There were obviously the Broward Sheriff's Office. There were a lot of agencies there, federal, state, and local. It doesn't matter who went in first. It doesn't matter in what order you went in. What matters is that when we in law enforcement arrive at an active shooter, we go in and address the target. And that's what should have been done. And if we find out, or anybody were to find out that any officer or deputy got to an active shooter building and didn't exactly go in, that would be something we would absolutely look at.
Well, you reviewed it.
Sheriff, has Deputy Peterson given any indication of why?
No.
Was there a lack of communication between Coral Springs and BSO on that time?
What do you mean by lack
The
of
lack
communication?
of communication between the two police departments?
Not to my knowledge.
from the video that you have, Peterson is outside. Can you tell us how long this is unfolding while he's out there? Is he the only deputy that's out there for a time?
Yes.
While this is happening? And how much time went by that he did not go in, that he could have gone in?
Minutes. I think it was upwards, I think he remained outside for upwards of 4 minutes.
And the shooting lasted 6 minutes?
Correct.
What was the other shooting again, did you arrive at the building?
Probably about a minute and a half. Vita will get you those exact numbers, but probably about a minute and a half after the shots were fired.
Do you know where he was when the shots initially were fired and where he ended up outside of that building?
I believe he's in one of the offices dealing with a school-related issue with one of the female student, and I think somebody else might have been in there.
So not very far from the freshman building.
I don't know. I don't know where it was.
What is he seen doing on the video?
Nothing.
Phone calls, sending emails?
He went on his, I think he got on his radio at a point in time, and he took up a position where it looked like he could see the westernmost entry into the building and stayed where he was. Never went in,
He clearly knew there was a shooting.
clearly.
Sheriff, what would you say to the families? You're now saying this deputy who was on campus stood there outside as somebody was shooting inside this high school.
Devastated, sick to my stomach. There are no words. I mean, these families lost their children. We lost coaches. I've been to the funerals. I've been to the homes where they sit and shiver. I've been to the vigils. It's just, there are no words.
So Sheriff, just to clarify, you believe when you said up that the shooter was still inside the building? You said-
Absolutely. Thank you.
What did you share in your statement?
Sheriff, are there guns, the rifles, were those in schools today?
The sheriff did authorize the deployment of the patrol rifles to all of our schools. So it gives the SRDs the opportunity to go ahead and sling the rifle, to walk around campus, to stand a post, to visually display that weapon. God forbid it happened another time, they'd be prepared for that. So
They were out today.
they were out today, yes.
Thank you.